Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the future of the water and wastewater industry and the careers you didn't know about, as well as the people that run it. We've got a special guest today coming down from the Metropolitan District Commission in Hartford. So we have one of the crew leader operators at the Collinsville treatment plant for MDC, Miss Alison Miner. Hi, Alison. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming down. As I told you, but when you got here, Tom Tyler speaks so highly of you and so forth. So, and he says you'd be an excellent a guest to have on the podcast. So, tell us a little bit of how you got in the water industry.
Well, it was not something that I had ever really thought about growing up. I had gone to college for engineering and dropped out and was just looking for a new direction. And my mom was actually working for a state program for getting women involved in trades.
Okay,
So electricians, plumbers, stuff like that.
Okay.
And she heard about a job opening at the MDC at the Hartford wastewater plant.
Okay.
And she was like, honey, this would be so great for you, to have a career. And then you don't have to, do something for a year and then try something else.
Right.
So it was a bit of a shock when I first got to the plant.
Okay.
It's one of the largest wastewater plants in New England.
Yes.
And, but I learned a lot, and there were some great people there to work with, a lot of knowledge.
Yep.
And a lot of new technology is being developed in wastewater.
They've done some tremendous improvements at the plant, with the odor control and, all of the new upgrades that they've done. And also you have the tunnel project right next door to you as far as that goes. So, the wastewater plant is I don't know if Tom told you, I've worked with MDC, Ray Burrell, and we teach the water boot camp that Metropolitan District does, the Learn and Earn program and so forth. So my co-teacher, myself and Seb Augustino, we've done that for the last 4 or 5 years. And, a big component of that is basically introducing kids to the wastewater side. So that has, in having done many tours there as far as that goes, and, in the lab ops and the all of the the nitrogen and everything that's happening there, and the upgrades that you've done. There's a lot of technology there. So now when you now obviously you've got your wastewater certification. Are you a wastewater 4 certified?
No, I have the Class 2 wastewater.
The Class 2 wastewater. Okay, well, that's good. That's good. That's good. Now, what prompted you to go over to the water side?
There's a lot of shift work in the wastewater plant, and I had kind of gotten tired of working on the off shifts.
Okay.
And I said, the next posting that comes up for days, I'll take it.
Okay.
And I really thought it was going to be one of the satellite plants for wastewater. I didn't think it was going to be a water job that popped up, but it was the very next job.
Really? Okay.
So I decided to make the change.
So, and now, how long have you been working for MDC now?
Almost 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yep.
Now, how much of that did you spend in wastewater?
Almost 6.
Almost 6. And then you're over to the water side. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're, obviously on the water side, you're in the Collinsville plant, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell us a little bit about the Collinsville operation.
Well, the Collinsville is a very small water treatment plant. It's called a package plant.
Yep.
And it has the same process of rapid sand treatment for water, just on a much smaller scale.
Right.
So my job is to go around and collect samples at each section of the process to make sure everything's good. Mm-hmm. Some of the samples get sent to the lab. Some lab samples I can test myself.
Okay.
pH, turbidity, chlorine, things like that.
Yeah.
And just make sure everything stays running.
Yeah. And for our listeners, basically a package plant, we had looked at a package plant here in Portland years and years ago and so forth. but basically a package plant is something that comes in on a trailer. Okay, you hook an inlet, you hook an outlet. Okay, you give it electricity, and you're good to go. And so forth. So it does streamline the process as far as from a construction standpoint of building a full blown treatment plant as far as that goes. So anyway, so how many customers does the Collinsville plant have?
It's an interesting question because we don't actually own the distribution system in Collinsville.
Oh, okay.
So we give that water to Connecticut Water Company for people in the Avon, Burlington area.
I see. Yeah, we've had many guests on the podcast from Connecticut Water. In fact, last week we just had Dan Meany on who was the head of their public relations department, and actually our second podcast, episode 2 we had Miss Maureen Westbrook, who is the president of Connecticut Water, on. So we are well familiar with Connecticut Water and so forth. So that's good. So how many customers do they have? I mean, on there.
On their end, they have more, but I know on our end it's less than 20,000 because we don't add fluoride to the water.
Okay, right. So now what kind of it's rapid sand?
Yes.
Now what do you use for disinfection? Do you use UV or what?
No, we use sodium hypochlorite.
Okay, so you hypo, yeah. Now, as far as looking at, you guys use your internal laboratory at Res 6 for most of all your samples, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the beauty and depth of the Metropolitan District. They have resources. Obviously, here in Portland, we have to send them out to a laboratory. We don't have our own lab facilities and so forth. What else are your daily tasks as far as in relation to, doing, how many backwashes do you do a day?
The backwash schedule depends on the season. Right now, we're starting to creep into the summer flows.
Yes.
Where we will be doing 2 backwashes every single day.
Okay.
Sometimes 3, and we only have 3 filters.
Oh, okay. So now, do you run your backwash schedule on time, or do you run it on back pressure? How do you?
It's generally on head loss and time.
Okay.
We try to get ahead of it. We don't get. We usually don't get 3 days of run time in between the filters. The plant actually starts and stops by itself because the demand is so low during times of the year.
So at any one time, are you how many filters are online? 1 or 2?
Almost always the 3 filters are
online,
online, and then the one gets backwashed for about 20 minutes.
Okay, that's easy enough. Piece of cake. So anyway, and so when you do. Was it a hard transition going from wastewater to water for you?
Not really. Wastewater, for the rapid sand filtration, I mean, the first step is the coagulant, the flocculation, and sedimentation, and that's basically primary and secondary.
Right.
So I was familiar with a lot of the science behind it.
Yeah.
So it was just learning new terms and more chemicals because adding pH stabilization and fluoride and stuff isn't really something that they do in wastewater.
Right. And what are you using for corrosion control?
For the Collinsville plant, we use calcium carbonate.
Okay.
But for the Reservoir 6 facility, which I kind of am also part of, they use sodium hydroxide.
Yes. That's the nasty stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. My God. Now, obviously the wastewater side, you're primary, secondary, and tertiary, as far as that goes. And obviously your capacity and you were at the Brainerd Road plant, correct?
Oh, yeah.
So how many millions of gallons a day does that process take?
It's a lot more now. I left right before they started a lot of their big wastewater upgrade.
Yep.
So it was probably averaging around 60 when I left.
Okay.
And I think now it's doing closer to 120.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's, yeah, Tom, I think was mentioned around 100, 120, as far as that. Wow. That's a lot of gallons, okay, that you're having to process now. And so how familiar are you with the tunnel project?
Not very familiar with it. I know they did breach one of the recovery points last year.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's moving along.
Yeah, from what Tom says, the tunnel itself is complete. To its length. Now they're working on the drop-ins and the substations. As far as that goes, that's I'm gonna hit. Hopefully, I'm gonna get Susan Negrelli down here. That's her baby that she, put into or is getting to be put into the end zone, finishing that project up. But that was a very, very time-consuming project and a big initiative by the MDC, as far as that goes in relationship. Again, one of the premises of me, creating this podcast is to make, high school students and even college students aware that there are careers, okay, that they didn't know about. And, hence, the creation of the podcast. So, if you were to give some words of wisdom to high school students, high school seniors, what would you say?
For high school seniors, I'd say the wastewater industry is a great option if you can't afford student loans, you can't afford to not be working, to support your family. It's, you start getting money right away, and
Sure.
a lot of companies will offer to pay for
tuition advancement. Sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, when you got out of high school, what was your path right out of high school? I mean,
right out of high school, I went to a university to major in chemical engineering. I only stayed there for about 2 years.
Okay.
Before I dropped out. And kind of, was a little aimless for the next couple of years until I heard about the position in the Hartford plant.
Now, do you regret taking the path that you did, or?
I regret that it took as long as it did.
To realize.
Yeah. And, well, especially because just last week I attended my commencement ceremony for my civil engineering degree.
Nice.
Yeah. So the whole time I was like, oh, if I had only done this differently, like how things would have been, but I wouldn't be the person I am now if I had taken a different path.
Sure. Well, like you say, I mean, what you didn't have any certifications when you came to the MDC, did you?
No.
Okay. So basically, how did they, when you came into what were you hired as?
I was hired as a wastewater operator in training.
Okay.
Then I got my Class 1 license after about 6 months.
Okay.
And then I officially became an operator after a year in wastewater. Then I went for my Class 2 license. And, that gave me another little bit of a pay bump.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was interested in going for my 3, but by the time it came around, I was really more interested in getting into water.
Okay. Now, what class water certification did you get? Are you Class 2?
I'm a Class 4 water.
Water treat. Okay, I'm going to say.
And then I have a Class 3 distribution license as well.
Oh, there you go. Okay, there you go. Yeah, there we go. So you got to deal with Mr. Bill Sullivan.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Bill was, I think, episode 3 on our podcast. So, and again, the opportunities that you can avail yourself, the possibility of careers, and a nice thing about, especially when you being at the Metropolitan District, there's ways to advance yourself not only vertically but laterally, as you did going from water to wastewater. And the fact that you can get out of high school, go to work with relatively no certifications and no training, okay, and get a valuable career, and not accumulating thousands and thousands of dollars in student debt. And the nice thing, the jobs in the wastewater industry and the water industry are secure. There's not something that you can really outsource to India or whatever. They have to have boots on the ground to run these plants, to maintain them, to fix them, to do all of the testing and everything that needs to be done on a daily basis. Now, is the Collinsville plant a 24-hour plant, or is that basically just online 8 hours a day, and then you utilize the remote management?
It's staffed 8 hours a day, but it can run on and off on its own.
Okay.
Throughout the night, yeah.
Yeah, the wonders of technology.
Yeah.
The wonders of technology. So now, how does that work when you're, on call, or how does that work? Do you take the laptop home and
we used to. They took that away from us because they were afraid it was a cybersecurity issue.
Yeah, cyber's becoming huge now.
So now, unfortunately, we don't know what the alarm is until we get to the plant.
Okay, so yeah, and that's a whole big. I'm the IT director for the town of Portland, so I know exactly what they're going, what we're all going through from a cyber standpoint, the risks and the vulnerabilities, especially when you're dealing with critical infrastructure like water, electricity, and sewer, and so forth. You really have to be on your toes, and all of the new cyber requirements that are coming today they've raised the bar tremendously. Insurance companies now, most water utilities and towns and municipalities, have to have cyber insurance, and the cyber insurance, you have to meet a pretty high bar of criteria, to be able to multi-factor authentication, EDC, all of those the requirements that basically prevent penetration into the network. So the best thing is, like I say, it's if you don't open up holes in your firewall, that's the better solution. Nobody. It's like leaving the key under the doormat, so to speak. So, obviously, when you're on site, you're utilizing SCADA, to look at the operations and so forth, to go from there. How many people are on a shift during an 8-hour day? At the plant.
For Collinsville, it's usually just me.
It's just you.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Turn on the lights, put out the cat, and go home. Right, as far as that goes. So do the alarms? Do you have backup as far as if you need to be notified, or is there a notification schedule on alarms as far as a call list?
Yeah, during the day, Reservoir 6 has a SCADA screen for Collinsville.
Yep.
So if I'm not at the desk, they're at the desk and they can see the alarm. And then in the evenings and night, we have the command center.
Command center down at Brainerd Road, yeah. That's manned 24/7, 365 days a year. So they can see all of the operations, both on the water and wastewater side down there. And again, that's the beauty of technology as far as that goes. So in relation to the distribution system up there, do you have any responsibilities on any of the distribution system?
Just making sure that they have enough water pressure.
Okay, so if they get a leak, Connecticut Water is the one that goes out and fixes the leak and does.
Yeah, I'll usually tell them they have a leak because I'll see, my distribution flows will spike way up.
Yeah.
And then they track it down.
Yeah. And can you basically segregate areas to point them in the right direction, or no?
No, they have to do that.
They have to do that. It's all on them. Go from there. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, on a personal thing, what do you like to do for hobbies? You're at work. What do you do when you go home?
Well, before it was just being a student.
Yeah.
It's been like 8 years.
Okay.
Going back to college for my bachelor's degree.
Uh-huh.
And then also I've taken up sewing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the pandemic, when they didn't have enough masks, I started making a bunch of them.
Okay.
So I made about 100.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. And so forth. So are you married, single, or
Single.
you're single? Okay. She's available, guys. All right. Fantastic. Do you, as far as doing your hobbies, obviously everybody has. In fact, when Dan Meany came in last week, he likes to do sailing, and so forth. So to go from there, going from again on various hobbies and working at the plant, you have to have a life after work, and obviously, are there any other activities that you do?
Well, I love animals.
Oh, okay.
So
Do you have any pets?
Yeah, I have 2 cats, and then I got a pandemic puppy.
Oh,
So she has to go to the dog park every weekend.
looks
and-
forward to that, right?
Oh yeah.
What kind of pup?
Oh, she's a mutt.
A mutt. Okay. Heinz 57. Nice. And how big?
She's about 50 pounds.
Oh boy, he's
Yeah,
good size.
yeah.
Good size. Doesn't miss many meals. I would assume, right? Nice. Okay. And the cats, are they pretty house cats, or inside or outside, or?
They're house cats, yeah.
Okay, fine. That's great. So, okay. One of the other questions I ask, and again, this is totally unrelated to the water industry. If you were stuck on a desert island and you could only eat one thing, what would you like as a food?
Probably pizza, because it's the most universal food.
There you go.
You can have anything on a pizza.
Pizza is an answer that is probably in the top 5 when I ask the questions. We also do a music podcast here, and we had one of the folks that did a music. He's a record producer, but he produced the record, The Pizza Story in New Haven, which is, and I don't know if you're familiar with any of the pizza restaurants in New Haven, but you have the big 3, which is Pepe's, and you have Modern, and you have Sally's. Well, this guy shows up with 3 Sally's pizzas here in the studio, and boy, if you've never had that, the pizza is New Haven pizza is second to none. But yeah, pizza comes up quite a bit. That is for sure. Okay, last question. Okay, a desert island album. Okay, are you into any type of music particularly? If you were stuck on an island and you could only listen to one thing, or two things.
One song, or
no,
one album?
One album, one group, whatever, or even a couple.
I guess my favorite band right now is Tame Impala.
Okay. I'm
So-
not familiar with them. Okay.
Okay.
What genre are they?
Australian psychedelic pop punk.
Really? Nice. Okay. I'll have to put that on my checkout list. So the name of the group again is that? Say again.
Tame,
Tame.
like
Yeah.
a tamed,
Yeah,
and then Impala, like the car or the gazelle, whichever.
Oh,
you
okay.
remember.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Nice. And how many piece group is that? Is that 4-piece, 5-piece?
It fluctuates.
Okay. Wow. Now, do they play?
Yeah.
In the States. Mm-hmm. Ah, nice. Okay. What have you seen them live?
I tried to last year, but the concerts kept getting moved around.
Oh,
so,
okay. And
so maybe I'll try this year again.
what genre, what places were they going to play?
I was going to go to Colorado.
Oh, to Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nice. All right. Good. Well, that's great. Fantastic. So, any other words of wisdom, okay, that you would like to pass on? Again, we're trying to promote this podcast and get it out to high school guidance departments to get it in the ears of high school seniors, and being a female operator, did you find that was an advantage, a disadvantage, or
Well, it's been interesting for a while at all of the facilities that I've been to. I was the only female operator. But I think there's a general acceptance
Okay.
that, and I think I'm pretty likable too.
Well,
so
that's
that doesn't help.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I would say, my God, I think, from a a lot of times, especially in the water industry, it's a, I don't want to say it's a male dominated industry, but the industry itself is becoming much more diverse, and I think the knowledge base and the skill sets of both female and male operators are certainly they can do the job. So that's half the battle, to go from there. So all right, well, Alison, thank you so much for coming down. Okay, I appreciate your candidness and your expertise, and the fact that you're one of us in the water industry. And like I say, I've been in this water industry. Well, I'm on year 48 and a half, so it's the time where I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. This is why they call it the gray tsunami, or in my case, the bald tsunami. As far as that goes, people are retiring. We need to start filling that pipeline. And the careers that are out there, like I say, are endless. There's a whole plethora of careers. From operations to certifications to construction to engineering to meter reading, cross connection. Account and customer service, you name it. So we're glad that you're in the industry and you're part of the water world, so to speak. And thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. So, all right.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes I think this is episode 17, and Alison Miner is in the house, okay, from the Metropolitan District in Hartford, but she is the chief operator at the Collinsville water treatment plant. So, Alison, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you.
Be safe.